Good morning. Welcome to our first day of class of 8th grade Accelerated Science. When you come into your Google Meet, you want to make sure that you arrive a couple minutes early. When you come in, you want to open up your chat box and type in present. That's how I'll take attendance. You want to enter the room, and when you enter, you want to come in with your microphone muted and your webcam off. You want to use the chat for academic discussions only. And when you come into the room, you want to have your Canvas module already opened. You don't want to take screenshots or video of the session. They can be recorded. And once you get all that done and are set, you want to answer the poll question. Our poll question for today is, where do you spend most of your time? YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, or gaming? You can respond down here at this website, or you can go here to our poll question, and they'll both take you to the same place. It's going to give you poll everywhere, and it's going to have the question, and you respond. We will look at live responses. They're going to be shown up here. As you enter your answers, this will change. I want to show you around the virtual classroom. There's a couple things in here that you might want to use. Here there's going to be an agenda. If you click on the agenda, it'll take you to the different standards, our learning targets, our essential questions, the anchor phenomena, evidence statements, and activities for the week. So it has lots and lots of information. You can click here, and this is going to give us a link to our Google Meets. And it'll take you to a Google Meet, so you don't have to look for the link. There's also this link, which is the live session, and that'll take you to the same place. You have two different Canvas links. You have one that's going to take you to your modules section, and it's going to show you the modules that we're working on. And then you have another link that takes you directly to the orientation module. That's module 0. This module is going to have a slideshow, and it's going to have a video, and it's going to have frequently asked questions here. So whenever you get stuck, you can come back to module 0. You have our website. So each classroom has their own separate page. And what I was thinking of here is when you go to your period, there's going to be a Padlet embedded down here, and you can put any work in here that you want. You can put pictures, you can put work that you've done, you can put ideas that you have. There's also a calendar with all your assignments and their due dates. Okay, here it is, and these are all the things that are due and the date that they're due on for our first quarter. You have a tutorial page. If you get stuck and you have questions on certain things like what's a soft chalk lesson or how to do a discussion, you can come here, and it has the topics listed over here. And it has videos over here that you go through, and I tell you how to do a soft chalk lesson or how to go through the virtual classroom. And there's a link down there under tutorials. One of the ones we're going to use a bunch is the assignments. And the assignments is going to be the assignment for that week. I have linked in week 1 assignments. This is going to be working on this week. This is what we're going to be working on next week. And it has all the different links that you're going to need. As you go through the lesson, you're going to need a soft chalk lesson, you're going to need notebook submission, and all those links are right here. You can also get your links in the module section. So if you come over here to modules, and that's the way you want to work it, you can go through there and you can find all these same links. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to go to Would You Rather. Okay, when you click on the Would You Rather link, it's going to have a series of questions like would you rather be beautiful and handsome but stupid, or would you like to be intelligent but ugly? And you're going to put your preferences down here. And when we come back over here, here are all the questions we'll be answering, and the poll will show what the class responded down here. So go ahead and take a couple minutes, fill out the Google form, and then come back and we'll talk about it. Okay, you've had a chance to answer your Would You Rather questions, and you're able to look at how you fit in with the class and if you're very similar or very different than everybody else. I need you to find your name on the list. You're going to be assigned to one of these groups, and what you're going to do is if you're in group 1, you come over here, it says group 1, and you click on that Google Meet, and it'll take those 4 people off to a separate room. I'll be a member of that room, so I'll be popping in and out of all these different groups as you go along and you have your discussions. When you get into the group, you can turn on your microphones. There's only going to be 4 people in there, so it'd be easier to talk than it would be to type. So turn on your microphones when you get to your groups. And what I want you guys to discuss is I want you to discuss the answers to Would You Rather. Were you very similar, or were you very different, or anything that you saw in the results really surprised you? Okay, so go ahead and head to your breakout rooms and discuss the results from Would You Rather. Okay, so we're going to get started with this week's lessons. If you do have questions or problems using Canvas, go back to Module 0, watch the video, and look at the frequently asked questions, and that'll help you out. You might also want to go to my tutorial page. That might help you. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up a soft chalk lesson. This is where you're going to get all your content, and this is what you're going to follow along as you go through the assignment. At first, when you go to a soft chalk lesson, what you're going to find is it's going to open up this. You need to click down here, and it'll show you this screen, and you click here, and it brings you to the soft chalk lesson. As you go through the soft chalk lesson, it'll show you how many pages you need to complete, and it'll show where you are. So you make sure that we're on page 1 and you get started. So we're going to talk about our anchoring event, and our anchoring event is going to be the craters on the moon. How do they get there? What causes them? Why are they different shapes? Those types of things. So the first thing you're going to do is read the opening statement. And as you go through a soft chalk lesson, what you're going to notice is some words are in blue. And if you click on those, it'll help you out with the vocabulary. So these are caused by asteroid or meteorite impacts, and we want to go ahead and take a closer look at those. So this is a Google map, and if I click on it, it'll take me to Google Maps, and it's a moon map, and it's interactive, so you can look around on the moon. You notice that some of the craters have been named. And as you scroll through, it'll show you the different names of places on the moon. And you can take a close look at the craters. So you want to make some observations about different sizes, different shapes, different depths. How are these similar? How are they different? Where are they found? Those types of things. So as you go through and you're looking around on the moon, think about the asteroid craters and what might have caused them, and if they're similar or if they're very different. Going back to soft chalk, the next thing we're going to find is we're going to find our learning targets and our essential question, and then a science notebook. To do a science notebook, it's going to ask me to answer part of the notebook as you go through the lesson. So by the time you're finished with a soft chalk, you'll have all the different parts entered. But for this one, they just want you to do entry number 1. So let's go find a notebook submission. And I can come here, or I can go to the module page. And as I click on that, It's going to open up a new page. It'll have a link to the document, the notebook submission, but it also has the notebook submission down here in a window. When you open that up, it'll ask you to make a copy, and that'll put the copy into your drive. And if you look, they're numbered for each lesson. This is Module 1, Lesson 1. And each lesson is going to have a different notebook. It's not a blank. It's something that's very specific to that lesson. So if I look back on my soft chalk, it asks me to write the learning targets under entry number 1. The learning targets are up here. Can you ask questions about the craters on the moon and make observations of the surface? Can you develop an initial model that explains why the craters on the moon are different shapes and sizes? So I'm going to take that and I'm going to copy it down into this area of my science notebook. Once I have that done, I'm going to move on to the next page. In this page, they have two different discussions. They're going to talk about the observations you made when you were looking at the moon and the craters. So they want you to know, what did you notice about the craters on the moon? How are the craters similar to each other? How are they different? Are all the craters all over the moon or just some areas? To answer that question, you're going to have to go to the discussion board. So I'm going to come back here to my week 1 assignments and my links. And I need to go to a discussion, crater observations. When I click on that, it's going to take me to a discussion board. On the discussion board, there's a couple different things that you want to look at. This is a graded discussion. It's worth 15 points. So if you look up at the top, it'll tell you if it's graded or not graded and how many points it's going to be worth. It'll tell you the questions again that it showed you in the soft chalk, and then it'll give you instructions. It says that you need to be thoughtful and respectful. You can ask clarifying questions to further the discussion or provide an alternative perspective, but you do need to comment on 2 of your classmates' posts. So make sure you read all of this so when you're putting your prompt in, you're answering all of the questions. As I respond to the post, I'm going to type in down here, and this is your content-rich editor. You can do most of the things that you can do other places in Infinite Campus. You can attach a file, you can put an image in there, you can upload it, or you can copy and paste. I want to put an image in there to help my point. Oh, put it right in the middle of my sentence. I'd want to move that. It says, I think that the man on the moon made the craters. And there's my picture of the man on the moon. I'm going to go ahead and post that reply. And then my classmates can see that. If I want to make a comment on that post, I hit reply. And then I get the same content-rich editor. And I can type in a comment. Okay, and that's how I'm going to, and then I'd post that. That would be how I do that. I'm going to two classmates. One of the things about posting, if you are one of the first ones, you're going to get a lot more people to reply to your post than if you are one of the last people in class. So you want to make sure that you're posting kind of early. That way other people can look at what you have to say. Back to the soft chalk lesson, and in this part, after we finish this is another discussion board, and they want to know about driving questions. And they want to know, based on your observations and what you saw in the previous discussion, what questions are you thinking about right now? Is there anything you'd like to investigate further? So we're going to participate in a class discussion. So we're going to go back to our weekly assignment page, and we're going to find the driving question discussion. and it's going to be just like the last one. It's graded. It's 15 points. Here is the prompt of what you have to answer, and then the directions of what you're going to need to do. So down here, when I want to post, I'm going to write down something that I was thinking about while I was reading and looking at the moon and the craters, and then I want to reply to 2 of my classmates. One of the things I thought about first when I was looking at this unit is I wonder how many asteroid impact craters there are real close to us. And I found a couple really good articles that we are home to one of the largest asteroid impacts that's near us. And then you have a Crater National Park over in Arizona. So we have a lot of these right around us here on Earth. So put your questions in the driving questions board, and you may want to come back to this later in the lesson if you think of something tomorrow or the next day and add it to our driving questions. Okay, we're going to go back to the soft chalk lesson, and this is the beginning of the lesson. And what it wants to know how those craters are formed. What kinds of things affect the size, the shape, the depth, and we're going to make an initial model. Now your initial model doesn't have to be completely accurate. It's a work in progress. It's going to get more refined as we find out more things about craters and impacts, and it will get better and better. So it wants you to go to a graphic organizer. So if I go back to our assignment page, I can open up the graphic organizer. I want to make a copy of it, and it'll put it into my Google Drive. And this will help me kind of organize my ideas. It says a large crater being formed on the surface of the moon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a picture here, and I'm going to write my explanation down here. I'm going to draw a picture of a small crater being formed, and then I'm going to write an explanation, and then a deep crater being formed. So I'm going to draw a picture and then an explanation. This is not going to be handed in because when we go back to the soft chalk lesson, it turns out that we're going to need to put this information into your science notebook. So if we find our science notebook again, question number 2 is the initial model. That's what we just organized our thoughts with on the graphic organizer. We're going to put our answers in here. So this will be our second part of our notebook, and this is our first model. And do notice that it says it's not important to be 100% correct. If you're not correct, it's not a problem because these models are going to evolve as we go through the lesson. So the next thing we're going to do is compare our models. So be ready to discuss and show your models to people in the class, and we'll go over them together so we can come up with some similarities and some differences in our models. So we're going to post our models on the discussion board. So I'm going to come back to my weekly assignments. I'm going to go to the discussion board, comparing models. It's going to open up the discussion board. This one is 25 points, so it's a little bit more than the other two. And they want you to post a clear picture. It can be hand-drawn or digitally created. And you're going to post that, and you're going to write a short paragraph on why you think some are small, some are big, some are deep. So you're going to write a post, you're going to read your classmates' post, and you're going to respond to 2 of your classmates' posts. And it gives you some directions on how they want you to respond, similarities and differences, and ask one question about the model. So I'm going to post here, and I'm going to put my model in here. Okay, so now we're back to the soft chalk lesson, and we're going to do a check your understanding. It's only 2 questions, and this is going to be part of a summative grade. You want to answer the question true or false, answer your question true or false, and then you can check your answers. I was a very bad guesser because I didn't read the questions, so I got them both wrong. So you want to take your time and you want to answer these. Okay, so the next thing is going to be what we figured out. We're going to take what we learned from our discussion board, and we're going to look at things that are the same and things that are different. Down here, if you scroll over this graphic, it'll show you some possible answers of things that are the same or things that are different. And what we're going to do is we're going to put that into an incremental model tracker. So we want to look and make sure that we understand that there's two things that we want to address. The asteroid and what happens during the impact. We want to look at some of the factors that might affect, like the size of the object, the mass of the object, or the speed of the object. And we're going to write those down here. So I'm going to go to my incremental model tracker. I'm going to go back to my week assignment, click on the tracker, and I'm going to put down my lesson. This is Module 1, Lesson 1, and the date and what we know so far. So I'm going to have to put pictures in here, and I'm going to have to put explanations in here. And this should be what you found out from all your classmates, not just your idea, but your idea combined with what other people had talked about during the discussion board. And this is going to change because we'll put lesson 1 here, lesson 2 goes here, lesson 3 goes here, and it'll show how our ideas have evolved over the course of the lesson. So at each lesson is going to we're going to go back to this paper. Okay, and we're on page 5, so we're getting close to being done. We're going to need to go to our science notebook, and we're going to fill in entry 3. So my science notebook is here. And my next steps, what do you want to investigate to explain the differences of craters on the moon? And what do you need to know? So you're going to put that in here. And in addition to that, there is a discussion board that you're going to put your answers into. So this is the notebook ideas for investigation. I'm going to click on that discussion board, and I'm going to post a prompt. This is another 15-point discussion. Your prompts are here. Your instructions are here, so you want to make sure you read those carefully, and you're going to want to post. And then you are done with lesson 1. So I click the finish button. So I'll see you next class, and we will work on lesson 1 module 1, lesson 2.